Today, we're rolling down the toll road at the moment using the Comma AI 3X with OpenPilot software. And what the software here is doing is it has replaced the forward logic for controlling the steering wheel for lane centering. The reason I was interested in this are a couple of reasons. One is I've never been happy with the Ford software. It really hugs the right stripe of the road. It tends to center the driver in the lane instead of centering the truck in the lane. Usually when I'm using the Ford lane centering software, I as the driver am in the center of the lane, which means the truck is about 18 inches off center to the right. If you're in the right-hand lane, that's probably not a problem. But if you're in the left and you start passing people who are in the right, you're uncomfortably close to them, close enough that you'll get your horn, their horn, blown at you fairly frequently. So that's the primary reason I was looking for an alternative to the Ford software. The second reason is that the Ford software has a lot of false positives where it cuts out on you. You'll just be rolling down the road just like this, the stripes will be perfect, and it'll suddenly do one of two things. Either just say canceled, and you've quickly got to get your hands back on the wheel, especially if you're in a curve. Or it will go into panic mode, where it mutes the radio, it starts flashing the dashboard with a big red warning that says resume control. And if you don't resume control, and by resume control I mean turn the system off by either hitting the brake or turning the button off, grabbing the steering wheel is not enough, it will start brake checking you. It will start slamming on the brakes to get you to take control for absolutely no reason. It's just random and happens to me probably 3 to 4 times during a 4-hour road trip, so about once an hour probably. The great thing about the OpenPilot is that it is always hands-free. The Ford software bounces in and out of hands-free and hands-on a lot. Every time you go through an exit or entrance lane, every time you go through a toll booth, even an unmanned toll booth like this one I'm about to go through here, I don't know how well it shows up on camera, it's basically just an RFID reader hanging over the road. The Ford software is going to force you into hands-on mode. The OpenPilot software doesn't do that. It stays in hands-free mode the entire time. Software also won't change lanes for you. If you turn on a blinker, it just disables the entire lane centering system. Ford software also tends to go into hands-on mode for any kind of significant curve. So this curve right here, it would typically force me into hands-on mode to handle this curve. The OpenPilot software is not having any issues at all with this curve. OpenPilot software really shines is when you get off the limited access highway. OpenPilot software has an experimental mode that will recognize the red lights and stop for you, but that requires the longitudinal controls to be working, and I'm still not happy enough with those on the F-150 to allow it to start controlling the gas and the brake yet. Surface street, not a limited access highway. There's a little S-curve here. We got a little over the line, but it handled it pretty well, considering I was going 40 around that S-curve. But we are hands-free on a surface street. Hands-free all this time. Doubt that we'll be able to handle this curve. We'll find out. Nope. It disengaged itself, it looks like. You have to figure out why we have a two-way stop sign. It makes no sense. That's not a road. there's no stripes on this road. I don't know how well it shows up on the screen, but there's a red stripe on the screen because it's detecting a curb there, a hard barrier you can't cross. And it's now picked up what's left of some old stripes and reflectors that used to divide this little piece into 2 lanes. Ford software, if it can't detect 2 stripes, nothing. No help from it at all. No lane centering. Even in places where there's a center stripe and a curb, and most of the time in this area they don't paint a stripe on the right if there's a curb, Ford software just won't do anything. It's like, no thank you. You got this one, buddy. Pull it to the left on this one. It normally would have followed to the right, which is the right thing to do, but there's people behind me, they're going to want to turn right. One thing it doesn't do in standard mode, because we're not in experimental mode, is it won't steer around cars that are parked on the street. So I'll have to take over and steer around this car that's parked in the street up ahead. It'll handle that in experimental mode. Well, looks like I was wrong. It steered me around the car parked on the side of the street. It's kind of impressive.